Along with the command line tools available to manage LVM volumes, we also have the System Config LVM graphical tool. Many Linux administrators prefer the command line way of doing things, but I must confess that this is one application that can save you some time on the RHCSA exam. System Config LVM isn't installed by default, but you can get it with the yum command. We access this tool from the System Administration Logical Volume Management. After System Config LVM refreshes its view, we are presented with an overview of the first volume group on the system, usually the one that contains the root file system. The top blue bar represents the volume group and the individual logical volumes within that volume group. You can click on these logical volumes and it will highlight the portion of the physical device, represented by the red bar below, that directly maps to the logical volume. Over on the right-hand side, we can see more details about the volume group itself. To find more details on the logical volumes, drill down in the Logical View menu and click on any of the individual logical volumes. On the right-hand side, we can now see more details about the logical volume, such as the size of the logical volume, the mount point for it, and the file system it contains. Beneath the view of the logical volume, we have buttons that will allow us to remove the logical volume, create a snapshot of it, or edit the properties of the logical volume. If we click on the Edit Properties button, we can see where we can change the name of the logical volume, grow or shrink it, or change the file system or the mount point. If we go up to the physical view, we can drill down and see how the disk is partitioned for the logical volumes. With the buttons below, we could remove the disk from the volume group or migrate the extents on this volume group to another physical volume. Below all this, we have our uninitialized entities. Some volumes cannot be initialized, such as /dev/sda, since it has our /boot partition on it. Others we don't want to initialize for LVM, since they are regular partitions that contain data, such as /dev/sdc1, which holds our sales mount point. We do have a new blank disk at /dev/sdd that we can initialize and use though. To set this disk up to be part of a logical volume, we first need to click the Initialize Entity button. We are prompted with a warning reminding us that we will lose any data on the disk. This is a new empty disk, so we click the Yes button. Next, we are advised to have the whole disk set up with a single partition. We will take the advice and click the Yes button. The disk is initialized, and System Config LVM reloads. Our /dev/sdd device now shows up as an unallocated volume. When we highlight the disk, we are given options to create a new volume group, add the volume to an existing volume group, or take the disk out of LVM altogether. We will add this volume group to an existing volume group so that we can increase the size of the logical volume that the home directory sits on. We click the Add to Existing Volume Group button, and we are then prompted with a list of possible volume groups. We will choose the 6200 volume group, which holds our home partition. Then we click the Add button. The volume is added to the appropriate volume group and the application reloads again. Now if we click on the volume group that contains our home directory, we can see that we have some unused space available. We can occupy that unused space by increasing the size of the original logical volume. Expand out the logical view, then click on the logical volume that holds the home directory. Then click on the Edit Properties button. Since we have added a 1 GB volume to this group, we have the option of using the full remaining space available, or by using the slider or by entering a value in the LV size field, we can specify how much more space we want the logical volume to occupy. Let's click on the button for Use Remaining Space. We can see that the slider and the value now occupy the rest of the available space. Click the OK button, and the logical volume gets resized. Back in the overview, we can see that the logical volume now occupies both disk and has expanded out to 2 gigabytes. We can go back to the logical volume and shrink it as well. Let's reduce the size by 200 megabytes. Drill down to the logical volume and press the Edit Properties button. Let's reduce the size by 200 megabytes. Then click the OK button. We are prompted by an information box telling us that the logical volume will have to be unmounted for this task to be completed. Press the Yes button. The logical volume is reduced and the application reloads.